Hello, my name is Brenda Talbot, and I wanted to share with you about the Apologia Science curriculum for 1st through 6th grade. Apologia also has middle school and high school books and curriculum that is much more complicated and obviously higher level for those age groups, but I really like the elementary curriculum, and I'm going to show you some of the books that I currently own and the things that I like about it. One of the things that I like is that they're colorful. The kids love these. They have pictures of the things that you're studying so that you get to see real life examples. So out of the swimming creatures, they give you examples of the creatures that you're looking at and reading about. You can see on the pages that the print is fairly large, so it's great for kids of all ages to read through. They do organize this curriculum and call it 1st through 6th grade. And so what you would do if you're not a veteran homeschooler, one of the things that you would do is if you have younger children, you would sit and probably read these books alongside them, read them to your children, because there is a good bit of vocabulary in here. And then as your kids get older, they can begin to read it more independently. If you have younger children, you probably will not spend a whole lot of time focusing on the vocabulary words themselves and memorization and all of that. You might just use it to explore sea creatures or explore botany, and then as they get older, you can put more emphasis on those kinds of things. You will also notice that the pages are divided into fairly manageable sections. And so again, if you have younger children, you might not get through as many pages at once as you would an older child. And then several sections throughout the book have a try this. And there's a simple little activity that you can do with usually whatever you have in your house to understand a concept that they've described in the book. So for instance, this one comes right after currents, and you get a blow dryer and some Cheerios or dry cereal, and you blow them around a pan, and you begin to see the spinning of a current that you create. Simple things like that. They also have sections as you go. They will stop and say, take time to explain this to someone. Explain what you've learned so far. And this is a Charlotte Mason type method called narration, and it will have the student say back what they've learned, because a great learning method is also to speak what you've learned and explain it to someone else to really solidify it in their minds. And so there are points throughout each lesson where the student is asked to do that. There are several activities as you go through the book. Here's the Botany Book. And so one thing is beginning to identify some of the plants based on some of the features that you've read about. There's an activity to take a nature walk in your yard, which of course here in the Panhandle it's always a challenge to study botany because there's just not always a whole lot of it. The canyon is a great place to go and try to do some of those things. There's an optional winter activity listed, so if you're studying the chapters off season, they've made allowances for that kind of thing. There are also more complicated and long-term projects if you wish to use them. The Sea Creature book has you take a shoebox or a box of some kind, line it with blue paper, and as you study sea creatures throughout the book, you make them out of either, you can cut paper pictures of them, or you can make them out of clay or Play-Doh and hang them or tape them inside the box, and you basically make your own little aquarium of the ocean as you go through the book. In the anatomy book, one of the more complicated projects is to make an edible cell. And so this is something at the very end of Unit 1, you use Jell-O and you come up with different shaped and colored candies to represent all the things within a cell that you've just studied, and you put it all into a bowl and you make a cell, and then of course you can have fun eating it if you'd like. They also do a full-scale body on a piece of paper if you want, and you begin to put in organs and body parts as you study them also. So you can kind of do as much or as little as you want based on what kind of learner you have and what age your student is, and so I really like that. The other thing that Apologia offers, or one other thing, they offer several, are student notebooks, and these are journal notebooks that you can use in several different ways. And again, you don't have to use every single page of it, but it offers a lot of different opportunities for students to solidify their learning. This is the junior one. You'll see this one says junior, and so this is for the lower elementary. They also have regular ones for the older kids, and you can kind of compare that by looking at the samples online. But I'm going to show you a little bit in this one because it's a junior one. Okay, it starts out with a coloring page for each unit. And again, if your kid hates to color, skip that. But it always has a Bible verse with it too, so if you are looking for Christian curriculum to incorporate a biblical worldview, these are great. This one is about the brain, and so it has the verse about transforming by the renewing of our minds. And then they have a page in every unit where you can write down some notes and draw some pictures of the things that you've been learning, or color a sample picture of something that you've learned. You'll also notice in the junior book that these are the dotted kind of lower elementary manuscript lines with the dots in the middle. The older ones would not have the dots for the older kids. Then they'll have other pages where you can label things and diagram things and fill in the blanks. There is copy work for every unit. So if you also want to incorporate copy work, and they will always give you a manuscript page and a cursive page. And so you can choose wherever your student is at with their writing. There's some space at the end where they give you some additional activities or books to read or things to incorporate if you want to, in addition to what they've already given you in the book. And then they have a project page. If you do a project and it's part of this notebook, you can tape it here or glue it here, or if it's something that you've done that can't really be taped in, you could take a picture of it and label a picture right there, tape a picture right there. So you can use that in several different ways. And then at the back of the book, they have sort of like lap book type pieces. And so there are things back here that you can cut out and make little booklets of things, and make lap book pieces. These can go on your project page, or if you'd rather, you could even do a whole separate notebooking binder or lap book type idea with all of the pieces at the back of the student book. So lots of different options and ways that you can go about teaching, all from one set of curriculum. If you go online, you can also look up Apologia Lap Books, and if you want to do a full-blown, full-fledged lap book, I don't see them on the Apologia website, but if you Google them, you'll find them at places like christianbook.com, Teachers Pay Teachers, Rainbow Resource, I think, has them. And a lot of times you can order them either as a CD that you put in and you print off the pages as you go, or you can order it as a printed booklet and all the pieces are already printed for you and you just have to tear them out and cut and paste. So there's that. They also have their books on audio CD. So if you have a learner who has a hard time reading and you can't sit necessarily and read it with them every day, you can get an audio book and they can follow along with the audio book as well. Trying to think of any other great things. I was just on their website recently, and I hadn't been for a really long time, and I've discovered they have all kinds of additional materials now besides science even. So definitely check out Apologia, and I hope this video has given you a good hands-on look at some of the things that they have to offer and that you might consider that. Thanks.